everyone, are you ready to do some makeup with me? I would like to do some makeup with you. So I'm going to walk you through how I do my makeup, and I'm only going to be using 3 brushes. So if you don't have these brushes, I'll suggest other brushes you can use, but I just wanted to show you guys exactly what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using the Starlux Slanted Liner 824 from Starlux, and that is going to be my liner brush. I also am going to be using the Julep eyeshadow brush. It's just a simple blender brush. You can pretty much use, if you have another blender brush, you can use whatever you like for that. Same thing for the slanted brush from Starlux. And the 2 face brushes slash eyeshadow brushes that I'm going to be using are the Oval 6, and this is my face brush, and the Oval 3, which I'm going to be using on the eyes. So if you're wondering how you can get your whole look, like I said in the other video from these, I'm going to show you. Excuse my hair, I just wanted to make sure that everything was pressed back so you don't see me getting in all my hair. My hairline on my forehead is a bit intrusive. So let's start. The first thing I do before I apply any of my makeup is I apply a spray to hydrate my face. I kind of like the Miu, but I've only started really using it, and it's kind of replaced my other brand, so I don't know if I love it yet. But I use this, and it's a Hydrate Me Beauty Essence spray, and it's in number 1. And I pretty much just close my eyes and spritz it on. So do a little bit of that, let it sit in. I let that sit in, and then I apply my moisturizer. Today I'm going to be using Juice Beauty Oil-Free Moisturizer because it's always key to not put too many oily products on your face, because then your makeup slips and slides everywhere. Plus I have an oily T-zone, as you can see right now. I'm kind of shiny, and we're going to get rid of that soon, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I take a little bit of my Juice Beauty product, and I use my fingers to apply this. Though you can use the Oval 6. You can use the Oil 6 for liquid, you can use it for your dry products. For a moisturizer, I'm just going to use my hands. From there, I want to use it, I want to get it some anti-matte on this face, because this greasy area right up here is driving me crazy. So you can use any mattifier. I particularly like Oceate by the Oceate mattifying gel, but I also like the Blank Canvas mattifying primer from Julep. I've recently really gotten into it. And I start by taking my Oval 6 brush. It's all dry, it's all clean. And what I do is I squirt a little bit right here onto my hand. Just enough to cover my whole face. You don't want to put too much of this on. And I just my brush I'm going to push and pull. You're really not supposed to move, you're really not supposed to lift your brush up at all, so I'm going to see if I can. Sometimes I do have to lift up and take up what I have on my hand, so hopefully I can get it good this time. And I start here, because this is where my T-zone starts, and I go up in here, because this is really greasy. Not really greasy, but just shiny. And I hate shine. And I'm moving in little circular motions, as you can see. And then we'll go here. So I'm still a little shiny, but I'm going to take care of that. Now that I've applied my mattifier, I'm now going to move on to my foundation. And I use the Fit Me from Maybelline. I use number 220. And I'm going to put a little bit of that on my hand again. And again, the goal is do not lift up your brush too much. Oh, I've put way too much. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I have some on my hand, and again, I'm just going to dip my brush right into it, because it already has mattifier on it, but it's pretty much all used up, so I'm just going to tap my brush in it, really get it in there. You don't really need too much. And I like to start here, go around my face, and end here. And again, lots of circular motion. Now, by the time I reach this side of my face, I always feel like I need to lift up the brush and take a little bit more. So now that I have my liquid foundation on, I do like to add a little bit of concealer, so before I add any powder, I just want to finish my liquid routine. Now I'm going to add the Touch On Concealer from Mirror Nest, and just a little bit there. And usually I just dab it on, right under the eye, right down here. I also add a little bit to the middle of my nose, a little bit out there, a little bit right there. Now I'm going to take my Oval 3 brush, and that's where I'm going to blend this in. And again, it's lots of moving and pulling. This is to give that whole like flashlight on the center of the face look. I hate saying it, but it's that Kardashian look. I think it's just, you know, a pretty look. I don't know what I have on my face right there. And I promise I'm going to blend this all out and it's going to look normal in a minute. Then here, because I have dark circles, so I always make sure to apply here. And it also is a good setting for my highlighter. So now once I have that done, from there I'm going to start moving on to my powders. Now, one thing I'm going to note is I've already highlighted places, but I haven't contoured any places, and I'm going to get to that. That's part of the whole powder routine. Now, I like to set it all with my Fit Me pressed powder foundation in number 220 as well, and I'm going to take the Oval 6 brush. And I'm just going to tap any extra powder because you don't want too much on your face. And I'm going to follow everywhere outside of the highlighted areas. But I'm going to blend out those harsh edges that were created when I was blending out the highlighting concealer. So I've pretty much avoided as much as I could those areas that I didn't want to get into. And now I'm going to highlight with the Nye Banana Powder over the more whiter areas. And for this I put a little bit into the cap, and I use my Oval 3 brush. Again, I tap out any excess on my hand, you don't want too much. And I just sweep across the areas that I have highlighted. So now my face is nicely highlighted, but again, it's still not contoured. So to contour my face, you can use any product, any like bronzing product or contour product you want to. I happen to just like the e.l.f. contouring blush and bronzer duo. It kind of reminds me of the NARS duo, except for obviously it's not as high quality, but it gets the job done. So I'm going to use the Oval 3 brush again, and I don't want to get too much product on, and I'm going to contour my nose. And this is all going to get blended in, of course. I do my cheek. Sometimes I go a little bit up here because I'm actually going to drag that up. I do around the base of my head, and sometimes I'll do my jaw, but I'm not going to do that today. So now I'm going to take my Oval 6 brush, my Oval 3 brush, and I'm just going to make this a little bit wider. Okay? And then I'm going to kind of sweep off all the excess bronzer, and I'm going to tap it into, I'm going to tap my Oval 3 brush into my pressed powder, take my excess off of my hand, and now I'm going to blend. It kind of looks like I'm brushing my face. Kind of looks like I'm brushing my face. Then for on my forehead and my cheeks, I'm going to use the Oval 6. Lots of pushing and pulling. I figured I'd bring you in for a closer look, so you can see just how everything is getting blended. So the next thing I'm going to work on is my eye look before I finish my actual blush and my actual highlight. So today I'm going to be using the Naked 3 palette, which was just released in Sephora and Ulta today. So if you haven't gotten your hands on it, go get your hands on it. I'm going to be using the Maybelline Just Beige as my eyeshadow primer, and I'm going to be using my MAC Oval 3 brush to apply it. Now, I still have a little bit of bronzer on here, so I want to get that off. Whew, looks clean, so whew, get a little bit of product on there, not too much. Now, you may notice I have really hyperpigmented eyelids, so I definitely want to blink that out. And that's why I love Just Beige from Maybelline, and I'm really disappointed in them for making it a limited edition shade. Now, I love the shape that I'm able to really get into my crease, and I'm able to really cover my whole lid in just really easy sweeping motions. I'm able to get that perfect line from the end of my eye to my brow. And that pretty much blanked everything out. I'll bring it out a little bit so that you don't have any harsh lines. So there we go. As you can see, big difference between normal eye and covered eye. So do the next eye. Both eyes have been primed, and now I can do the eyeshadow. Now, I'm going to do a pretty soft look today, and I'm going to start with a matte shade in my crease, and I'm going to use Nooner. And what I love about the Oval 3 brush is that it's perfectly shaped to get right in there. So I'm going to do Nooner. There we go, I have enough on my brush. And I'm going to start by going right into my crease, pushing down right under my brow. And I love that it really just goes in there for me. And then I sweep up and down as I go to kind of sweep some into my brow bone, but also keeping it purely in the crease. And I'm going to do the next side of my eye now. Again, that's Nooner from the Naked 3 palette. Now this is where the blending brush comes in, and I simply just make the edges not so harsh. Now I want to fill in my brow with a certain shade, so I'm going to quickly just rub off any excess because I don't want to bring that up. And I want to put a lighter shade on my brow bone. So I'm going to go with the first shade, which is Strange. And I'm just going to put a little bit right here. And again, I'm going to use it this way to really blend in with the crease shade. Or rather the shade that I blended up to the brow. So now that that's done, I want to pick a nice shade for my lid. And I'm going to go with the shade that I used in the video where I'm wearing the black lipstick. Some of you asked me if I could do a tutorial on that. Well, I've showed you pretty much every step that I've taken to do that look, except for the eye look. I did all the face steps. So I'm going to go with Dust right here. And I'm just again going to sweep right down. Still have a little bit of the other shades in my brush, but I find that it really doesn't make a big difference with this brush, because the product really just deposits and then there's not much left. So again, I'm doing a sweep across my lid. Now I like to add just a little bit extra onto the middle, so I just patted that on. And then to define the outside, I'm gonna tip just the tip in Buzz. To define the outer V. And again, if there's any harsh edges, the blender brush comes in quite handy. So there we go, my eye look is pretty much done. Had a little bit of spillage out over there. So now my eye look is pretty much done, and I'm going to move on to my liner. And I'm going to be using... Where's my brush? I'm going to be using the Mica Beauty liner. And this is a gel liner, and I start off by drawing the outside of my wing. So I start like that. Do that on both sides. And then I'll often just pull out like that so you have like that faded line slightly. And then I'll go in to fill in the rest of my line. The sun is setting, so I'm losing light. So I applied my Lights Camera Flashes mascara. I have very small eyelashes, so you can't even really see. And the last thing I would do for my eye look is I would apply my blush and my bronzer. But I've already applied my bronzer, so I'm actually going to just apply my blush and my highlight. So I'm going to start with my blush, and I'm going to use, again, the Oval 6 brush. And again, I'm using my e.l.f. Compact. And I'm just sweeping right across, kind of like on top of where I applied my bronzer. So I'm sorry that the sun has set, so now that the quality's a little bit orangey, but this is how I apply my blush. I apply it like this, and I just keep going over my cheekbones. And then for my highlighter, I used the Superb highlighter from MAC. And again, I took my Oval 6 brush, I swept across, got some product on the brush, and then deposited it right here on like the apples of my cheeks. And I also applied a little bit to my nose using the Oval 3 brush, right over where I had highlighted before. And then I just finished with lipstick, and I was all done. And that is how I did my look in the other video. And in the other video, of course, I put on my Red Cherry lashes. My other video, I also added my lashes in Red Cherry 113 and finished with the Hot Core lipstick from MAC. So what do you guys think? Easy look, right? And so simple with 3 or 4 brushes. So you can't go wrong. Thank you so much for watching, and please follow me on Instagram. I'm Recycled Stardust. One other thing I added to make my eyes pop a little bit is I used the Rimmel London Scandal Eyes Eye Kohl in Nude, and I added that simply to my waterline to make the appearance of a brighter, more awake eye. So that was the one thing I forgot to mention.